We are recording.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. I'm doing the Bennington show today, so I'm marking it down on my phone.
Oh, nice. Awesome. I love that show.
It's a great show. All right, so now we're doing this on Zoom, which is
doing it on Zoom.
In the first place, it's so much easier.
Yep. And if you guys are listening, you can also be watching because we'll post the video somewhere.
So we have asked, I'm going to pull up my email. We have asked our listeners to ask us a bunch of questions.
Yes.
Tyler Mead, our great intern,
who I want to make a note over the course of working with us, it has nothing to do with us, but he is really taken health and wellness seriously, and he's done a similar the way Matteo did a body transformation. I mean, similar in that they both just regularly have been healthier, and then you see results over time. Tyler's done that. He's doing that.
Killing it. He's also just a great person to work with.
Yeah, maybe I bring up people's looks too much.
I
always try to do it if it's if I see someone out there working consistently. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's what impresses me. You guys do it every week, and you don't do it in an extreme way, and you just keep doing it.
I did mine, not extreme. I didn't do steroids, even though I want to.
No, you did it over 2 years.
Yeah, but considering what I was doing before versus now, I mean, it's not extreme, but...
Well, a total lifestyle overhaul, but in regular increments. Normally, I'll see people do it me or my friends in high school, we would do something where we're going to do this every day, and then we would stop after a month.
By the way, my allergies, not Corona, have been destroying me.
My allergies, not Corona.
I had Corona a month ago.
I was texting with someone, and I was like, "So how are you?" And she goes, "Good, headache, but don't have Corona." And I was like, "I wasn't."
No, I fully had coronavirus a month ago. I had loss of smell and taste. I was sick, but I did everything I was supposed to do. I quarantined myself.
What was the loss of taste? What was the loss of taste like?
You don't taste anything?
So you just eat. What?
I mean, it's in the description. No, you literally don't taste anything. I had a friend over and I made pasta. This is before everything started shutting down, and so I had just gotten sick. So the first thing I did was cancel all my shows.
Right.
Then, but I was like, I guess I'll just be home. And then someone else who got me sick was like, oh, I'll come hang out then if we're both sick. And so I made pasta for us. And then I was like, I can't taste this. This is before we knew that the taste thing was a thing with coronavirus.
Right.
And then a week later, I read an article in the New York Times. It was like, oh, if you've lost the sense of smell and taste, then you probably had coronavirus. I'm like, oh, that and a fever and body aches.
Right. So you were just eating it, and you were just where is the joy?
Well, I'm so Italian. Even the texture of pasta makes me happy. Just looking at it, I was like, well, it still looks pretty. I'm sure it looks the way it's supposed to be, or it tastes the way it looks.
The way it looks, yeah. Enough of your senses are stimulated, so you're okay with it. Yeah.
All my smell and taste are back, and so now I'm making every night. It's a new pasta. I'm making a brand new pasta. Ooh. And me and Val from the cellar we FaceTimed yesterday, and I taught her how to make cacio e pepe.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah,
that's really cute.
My cousins from Italy who now live in Jersey, we're gonna FaceTime and make pasta al forno.
How are they doing in Jersey? Jersey's one of the hardest hit places.
New York's the worst.
Is New York worse than Jersey?
New York's the worst right now in the world.
Okay. Fuck. Because I was reading about Bergen County in Jersey because I know of someone that lives there, and he had posted about how Bergen County was the number one county in Jersey for.
Yeah, Jersey's bad. New York City is the epidemic center of the world.
Wow. How crazy is that?
Crazy. Although people are texting me I'm in Afghanistan, I'm in war. I just went into my third tour.
Right.
Oh my God, how are you? I'm like, God, Fortnite is just killing me.
Yeah, I played sick. My thumbs are so sore.
I know. I've been donating to whatever I can donate to. And yesterday, Mariah, this is how much I love Mariah. Mariah asked to donate. I forget the name of it. I just clicked on the link and sent money. But I sent money because of Mariah Carey.
Good for you. I'm going to send money to my stepmom. My stepmom does fundraising, and I was going to ask her to help me with something. And then I was like, you know what? I need to do something for someone else. And she was like, yeah, you should consider giving to a domestic violence shelter that's in need right now because domestic violence is like spiking. And I was like, I was so glad I even asked her to think to do that because I wouldn't have thought to do that at all.
Yeah.
But domestic violence is like through the roof right now.
On that note, let's read some of these questions. So,
yeah.
And I know this, I like the idea of this, right? So we haven't answered questions in a long time. But
long time.
Back to old school, inside the closet.
Yeah, we used to answer questions all the time.
I know. And then our lives took a dramatic turn. We used to have a normal schedule, go to a studio and do this, and then our lives turned upside down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, you went on a TV show. I went through a breakup. Great things.
This and that. Oh wait, I wanted to tell you real quick. I auditioned. I did an audition. I got an audition in where I have an intense sex scene.
You had to do a sex scene in the audition.
Yeah, and it was at this person's apartment. It was fucking weird. No. It's in the audition. The sex scene is in the audition. I'm doing it tonight, but who I read my auditions with I've got two choices right now. My girlfriend's brother, Ash, is here, and he's been helping me with auditions. So he reads the other person's part, or my acting coach, Bill. But it's like this sex scene where it's two lesbians. Making water.
We can do it right now. Ready?
No, or we can do a fake one, but the actual sex scene is like two. What?
What's your character's name?
Grace and Betsy.
Great. I'm so happy that you could meet me here at the Sarah McLachlan concert. We finally are alone.
I'm gonna fuck your brains out.
Oh.
No. The sex scene is. I actually don't even know. It's making me like flustered. It's not that it's like that hot even. It's that it's not hot. Are
you like the top?
Actually, no, I'm not. It's the sex scene is very vulnerable. It's like this girl, my character has this like intense orgasm and starts crying, and then
in the audition.
Yeah.
Why is this the scene they need you to audition for?
I don't know. What would you do?
I would probably do it. I'm desperate. I'd come in a jockstrap. Be like, hey, I'm ready to audition for lesbian who's vulnerable.
Why don't you do the audition for me and I'll send it in?
I have no shame. I would do it.
That'd be. I'm like,
hi, I'm Grace. Hello. My name is Grace.
Actually, you know what? And what's anyone gonna say in this day and age? I'll be like, yeah, and what? This is a fucking lesbian now. So what? So what are you gonna say about it? And they'll be like,
I said what I said.
Yeah, I said what I said. And
right,
fair enough.
Let's read these questions.
All right.
Okay, so from A Scarps, or at Scarps. I'm a fucking idiot. Scarps. Go to quarantine meal. All right. Because mine's going to be heavily detailed, I would like you to start.
Okay. My go-to quarantine meal has turned into sandwiches. So originally it was... Okay, I'll give you all the details.
Hey, girl, yes.
Well, here's the thing. My girlfriend's been cooking. So the thing that we eat the most is actually, this is the more interesting one. The thing we've been eating the most, and if anyone's interested, we can send you the recipe. I've never lifted a finger for it, is gumbo.
Yeah, gumbo. It's like a Louisiana, New Orleans meal, right?
Yeah. Have you had it before?
I've not had gumbo before.
I
Even though I love New Orleans, I've not had gumbo.
Okay, I wonder, you should come.
There's seafood in it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't, that's why I can't eat it.
Okay, it's like gumbo, but then, so we've been having that, and it takes like a really long time to cook. But then we've been also having this other thing where it's like beans, and then she marinates the beans for a really long time, red beans, and then she puts sausage in it for me and her brother, and then there's rice and whatever it is, it takes a long fucking time to cook. So I'd say that's the thing we've been eating the most. And if anyone's interested in that, I'll get the recipe because it's good to store. Me personally, wheat bread, turkey, cheese, and then motherfucking mayonnaise. I love mayonnaise.
Can I tell you, I'm not a mayonnaise fan.
I fucking love mayonnaise.
I don't like mayonnaise.
I love it so much. Why don't you like it? It's delicious.
I don't know. I think I'm turned off by mayonnaise. I'm going to show you.
The texture, the color. Let me tell you. Ooh, you guys better watch the video. Matteo stood up. You guys see his butt.
I know. All right, so.
Wait, what's not to like about mayonnaise is I can understand not liking the texture, but the flavor.
So I have my go-to. I have a couple things, and there's like key ingredients for it, right? So
Okay, let's see it. And are you eating vegetables?
Of course, I got my frozen vegetables in the fridge.
Fuck, I've been so good. All right, so what's that? Tomato juice?
So if you want to make like a really simple pomodoro, which is like a red sauce with pasta.
And an incredible restaurant in Boston.
All you need, now this is what's called una passata. Passata in Italian is a pureed tomato. This is the base for all of our red sauces, right? This is from a company called Muti. Muti is the number one, I think it's the number one red sauce in Italy, this is just pureed tomato. Literally the ingredients are tomatoes, Mediterranean sea salt, basil, and that's
Mediterranean sea salt and those all sound good. And you can just get that at any like general market or
no, I found this at Fairway, which is like has like more old variety foods, right?
Okay.
But this is just garlic. So you saute, and I taught Ryan how to make this the other day. You saute chopped like 2 cloves of garlic in olive oil, put the passata in, let that cook down for 20 minutes.
Simmering.
And then I take a little bit of water too and put it in.
Okay.
And then I put right in like roughly chopped basil, and then you add what I have di cecco, not Barilla.
What's wrong with Barilla?
This pasta it almost looks like there's flour on the pasta. What that actually is the way the pasta goes through the machine, it gives it a rougher edge. So that way when you're cooking it, the sauce will adhere to the pasta better. And then I also just make cacio e pepe, which is pecorino cheese, bucatini, and then pepper. But then there's a whole thing with like the pasta water.
What's wrong with Barilla? What's wrong with that other pasta you mentioned?
Barilla is a cheaper pasta. It's almost like plastic, and the owner of Barilla, this should have been the number one reason, thinks that gay marriage is a sin.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Where'd you get that little tidbit?
All over the news, and then I got a video of my mom and Aunt Cindy throwing out all the Barilla pasta.
I didn't hear it. Usually that stuff like pops up in my news feed because of target marketing, but
maybe it was just, I get a lot of Italian news also.
Right.
So a lot of times in my head, I'm like, this is, and I'm like, oh, it's just Italian.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know about that. So you'd say that's your go-to thing?
Yeah, I made cacio pepe 6 times.
Nice.
Which is a lot. I mean, 6 times in 2 weeks. Okay. Let
us know what your guys' go-to meals are, because I'm looking to I'd be looking to spice it up. I would really like to start making more smoothies.
Why don't we do a video together where I teach you how to make cacio e pepe?
Teach Ashley how to make cacio e pepe.
Teach you. You're the host of the show.
I mean, okay.
Cooking that much?
It's just, my mom is such a good cook. She's so good, and she's always like, "Why don't you or your sister?" Because my sister doesn't really like to cook, but my sister's a really good cook. She just doesn't like to do it that much. My sister's husband, he's like a really good cook. He cooks a lot of meats, but she's like, "Why don't you and your sister like cooking?" I don't know.
What would your mother be like if she was on Hell's Kitchen, the TV show?
I haven't seen that.
Basically, he runs around and screams at you.
Oh.
Like,
okay, scream at
well, it's a fucking meal.
That's what she would be like. And then she wouldn't be able to take it. She'd be like, "Why does he have a show? Who is it? What does he do? I don't need this, I don't think. I'm going to call my friend Marilyn and see if this is normal."
I don't need this.
She loves her friend Marilyn. Shout out to Marilyn.
Okay, so from I'm Ma Me, which is I'm _ Ma _ me. Interesting name. What is the first thing you'll do and first place you'll go after everything opens up? Okay,
Ooh,
I have
question.
two answers.
Go.
Comedy Cellar.
Yep.
I'm going to run to the Comedy Cellar I'll probably cry.
Yep.
And then I'll go to Ribalta, my favorite pizzeria.
Yeah, I think I would want to, when everything opens up, I think I would want to fly back to New York and go to the Comedy Cellar, go to New York Comedy Club, walk around New York, go get some coffee, go by a bodega. Then I would want to drive to Boston and see my mom and sister and family.
Yeah, like taking the train. Like I haven't taken the train now in a month, and it's like
yeah.
I never thought I would miss the train.
Right.
I never thought I would miss getting on the metro, the MTA.
Are you gonna feel safe doing that too?
My mentality is literally like.
Oh, and you had it. You've had it, so now you're immune.
Well, in theory.
In
But there are
theory.
studies that say some people have recontracted it. I mean, so I'm still in
Right.
quarantine. Like, I'm still playing along to the rules.
Right, because I feel like it's gonna open up. This is what I think is gonna happen. I think Trump is gonna lift the ban, and then sooner than maybe people recommend, and then governors are gonna step in and that it's gonna be like a state-to-state thing where people are gonna be like, no, it shouldn't be lifted yet. I think there's gonna be like a lot of tension around that. That's just the vibe I'm getting.
Yeah, it's going to be a mess, as it already is.
Right.
All right, Columbus Kruger. If you could only listen, if you could only listen to 5 artists for the rest of the quarantine, who would they be? So this is like musicians or comedians, I would say, right? Or do they mean musicians?
Probably musicians.
Okay, we'll do just musicians.
Okay.
5. Okay, you go first.
I mean, man, if I could.
Third Eye Blind.
Never. No, they weren't that bad. What songs did they sing? Semi-Charmed Kind of Life?
What?
What did Third Eye Blind sing?
If you could da me, my friend,
right.
I would understand.
I think they sang Semi-Charmed Kind of Life too, didn't they?
I don't know. I think.
Yeah.
Isn't that the song they sang, right?
Yeah, Semi-Charmed. Let me see if it. That was the one I always knew.
Yeah. I was doing this like I play guitar. All right.
I like that song. I would listen. I would have.
Top 5.
Okay, I would have Britney Spears, Danity Kane, Backstreet Boys, Roy Jones Jr. I love early Britney Spears.
Album.
Oh my god. I loved her first album.
Sometimes I run.
That one. Oh, and Christina Aguilera, her first.
Come on over, baby.
Yeah.
Hey, boy.
That one.
I would pick Mariah, Barbara, Maria Callas, Whitney Houston, and Cleo Lane.
Who's Cleo Lane?
She's a jazz singer from London.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay. Let's see. From Brelan Molina.
Also, I like that they did 5 singers.
Yeah.
Can I tell you I have a story for you about reading someone's name off of like someone's like internet name.
Okay.
I'll tell it to you real quick. So I did a college last Friday.
Real quick, like we have anything else to do.
True. Yeah, I know he gets to go. I did a college show where I had to do an hour of material. They let my friend.
Oh, by the way, I didn't even ask you.
Well, everything's blurring together. Thank you. I had my friend open for me, so they let him. So he did 20 minutes. It was actually really fun. Oh. Like it was so fun just to do stand up. How they did it was they had students. I mean, I guess it was like I'm sitting down saying my jokes, but I fucking sold it. Like I was milking, like I was just thinking of the stuff so hard. I mean, I think you guys would have been proud. Like I was.
You remembered your jokes?
And so will you.
Really?
Matteo, it was like, yeah. Like it was like, I looked over jokes like an hour beforehand and then I put them on a nut to the side. But once I started going, but I was acting so, I was like, well, since quarantine, and then I went into a joke, but I was like, and like I was just like really trying to pretend I was just thinking of it, like probably a little too much. And the setup wasn't necessarily ideal because they had the students muted, so I couldn't hear anything.
You just see this?
You'd see them smiling, or one girl was eating cheese nips. And then at one point she didn't mean to, but she moved the camera like right in her boob. And so I like called out her name. I was like, hey, da-da-da. I was like, we can see you. And then she was like, oh, whoops. But this girl, I mentioned my mom. I mentioned coming out and how my parents were supportive. And then this girl wrote, I can't relate to that. Mm-hmm. And I said, oh, I'm sorry. And let's say her name was Angela. I was like, I'm sorry, Angela, because it's a private thing to me. So other people can see it. So I was like, and people were writing in real time. So I was like reading what people were writing and interacting with it. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Angela said she can't relate. I'm sorry about that. And then I was like, did I just out somebody? Because I didn't know if I was supposed to say her name, that she had said that.
She came on her own accord and messaged you publicly on a public platform. It's not like she DM'd
It was a private chat.
in Instagram.
It was so the way the Zoom thing is set up when you're doing a show, there can be like
right here, like you private chatted me. Is my audio working?
it was exactly, that's what it was. So there's the public one, and then I realized she did it on the private one. But it's like, I'm doing a show, I'm looking at kids, and I've got these two chats going. So I went, oh, I'm sorry, Angela, you can't relate to that. And then I was like, did I just out somebody? And then
it's a pandemic.
And right, so I backtracked and I was like, did I say Angela? I meant to say Dave, who isn't even in here, and I got confused.
God.
And then she like clicked on and was like, it's fine, it's okay, I'm coming out. So I don't know if that was the first time she came out or what happened, but it ended up being okay and ended up being like pretty like, because someone asked what the worst crowd work interaction I ever had was, and I was like, oh, that, like, hands down, thinking I outed somebody over Zoom in front of 20 college. Like, I was like, that was.
You outed someone over Zoom, and that'll be the end of you're canceled.
That's it. When you do your jokes again, Matteo, you'll remember it so easy. You know what I mean?
Because I probably won't get on stage till June, so we'll...
You will remember them. It won't necessarily. I think the weirdest thing for me is, and I would be curious for you, is can be remembering how to like move my body on stage.
Yeah,
because that's gonna feel unnatural.
Yeah, we'll be like Mariah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like
any
that.
Pointers? Okay, so this is from Unholy Frijoles. Any pointers for new open mic comics? Well, we have some time before you can go back to an open mic.
Or you can do a Zoom open mic. They have Zoom mics. I don't know.
They do on Zoom?
They do. I've never done one, but they have them.
Well, in regards to normal open mics, like how are you do it? I mean, so for those who don't know what an open mic is, open mics are, at least in New York City and Chicago, where I did stand up, and I think most places.
Every place has open mics, like every place.
Usually around like between 5 p.m. and 11 p.m., there are places, bars, maybe performance places on off hours that have open mics, right?
Side rooms, yep.
Yeah, and you walk in, there's a bucket, you write your name, you put it in the bucket, and then the host comes and reads 5 names, and then those 5 people have, so it'll be like, okay, the first 5 are Emma Willmann, Matteo Lane, Evan Williams, Yamanika Saunders, and blah, 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 right? And so we each, in New York, we get 2 minutes. Some cities get 4, 6, New York, 2. So
sometimes in New York, you can get 5. It depends where you go. Because some of them have a list that you sign up for ahead of time. So there's like the lottery mic and then the pre-sign up mic, but it all involves signing up.
The mics that I usually did in New York I didn't pay for them. And it was usually, like, I'm thinking just like a creek mic on the Friday.
So that was only 2 minutes, not that?
2 minutes.
Usually, yeah, I used to do that sometimes.
Every mic. So at a minute and 20 seconds you get lit means you have, or a minute and 30 seconds, you get 30 seconds left. You go up, you do your 2 minutes, you get off, you go to the next mic. This is it, right? So,
and it's all comics normally.
What would your opinion, if you had one pointer, I'll give a pointer, you give a pointer.
Okay.
For an open mic comic.
If I was going to have one, I would say be prepared.
Be prepared.
Take it seriously, you know.
Just going to step over my Lion King song.
Oh, sorry. That's a Lion King song?
Don't you know the Scar song, Be Prepared? Remember his, like, gay song? And then the hyenas are goose stepping?
Oh, yeah. I haven't seen that movie in a long time. That I remember.
That is our childhood, was that sunset coming up and just hearing,
yeah,
Matt, and yeah.
I do that with the dogs sometimes. Hold on.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Be prepared. Yeah, be prepared and also be polite to people because you should anyway, but 2, like, don't try. If someone thinks they get someone thin and then they get kind of an ego and then they're like being rude at the mic, like if you can stay for after you go up, stay for the person after you. A lot of times people are just like looking at their notes while other people are on. If you just look and watch like one person and then go, that can go a long way. Like just try to be like as pleasant as you can too, because people remember that stuff. Like there are people that were assholes to me at open mics that I don't think any of them do comedy anymore, but you remember that.
Never forget.
Never forget.
I guess my recommendation would be to listen. I think the biggest mistakes that new comics make is that they're not paying attention to anybody else but themselves. And what happens is you end up in your own bubble and you're not adapting to what's happening around you. And what I mean by that is when you go up and you do jokes, okay, great. When you're watching other people, what are they doing right? What are they doing wrong? What are they doing that you can learn from, right? So there was so many times I would see comics at open mics, like Amber Nelson, for example. When I went to see comics in New York, she was one of the first people that I saw where she sort of broke the standard of open mics, and I didn't realize I could be more experimental. Candy Lawrence in Chicago did the same thing.
Yeah, I remember that with Amber Nelson too. Amber would really work the stage and use the space and kind of break the third wall, because I think a lot of times it's like everyone's just like not in comedy when you call out like the elephant in the room. I actually remember the Amber doing that, kind of like making it so then you're like it made it more fun. I remember that too, actually.
Yeah, she broke, you know, and also too, like listening to like what are some comics doing that are making them stand out? Because a lot of times comics go in and try and all be each other, or they're all like, when we were doing comedy, it felt like a lot of men were trying to be Louis C.K., right?
Sure.
And then before that, there were a lot of people trying to be Maria Bamford. Like, you just see people trying to be other people, which is natural. Like, when I first went up, I could hear myself sounding like Ellen, because that was the only comic that I really knew.
Me too.
So, yeah. So, you know, just listen to other comics, what's working and what's not working. I just stay there till you've seen everybody.
Yeah,
right?
go watch. Well, in New York, I mean, people will go, like you were saying, if you go to more than one mic, but you can go to the mics and then go watch a show and watch how someone
go to shows. What are the better comics doing?
And transcribe sets, like you can like go and see, or like even Google like transcriptions of someone's like stand-up set. Like there's a transcript somewhere of Ali Wong's first special, and just kind of like you can like, or there's this great a YouTube clip about how Jerry Seinfeld writes jokes, and then there's just where it's him talking, and there's another one with someone is doing it on Louis C.K.'s like pausing and timing, just like looking at stuff like that. I remember,
you know, even today, like I, as a professional comic, right, there's still certain comics that I watch because I'm learning something from them.
Yeah.
Like, the few comics that I watch that really make me feel inspired and want to like keep doing better is Jessica Kirson and Michelle Wolf. When I see Jessica Kirson, how she takes command of the room and how she can physically change a tangible energy in the room to make it completely her own.
Yeah, it's like a whirlwind.
And then Michelle, I watch Michelle. She's so prolific and so smart, and so she writes jokes. She just truly cares about the craft. I sit and think, okay, now, you know what? I'm going to try this new joke. Because
that's how I would feel about like a Joe Mackey or something. I mean, comedy's so like then it comes down to what you like. Once it's like crafted and worked out, it comes down to like a personality thing and what you gravitate towards. Like I remember Michael Che one time, this is years ago, and this was actually at a open mic. He said this, he like not on stage, we were talking out, and he was like, people say that someone likes this comic or doesn't like this comic. I think of it like which comic speaks to me. So once something's like worked out, like, yeah, I'm sure that they're a good comic, but they don't speak to me. So that's not who I gravitate towards. It's like sometimes I'll watch like Cat Williams' early stuff with him bouncing around the stage, or this comic Richard Jenny, that spoke to me because I was like, at the time I loved how they moved. Now I watch stuff that I wouldn't necessarily be watching it based on like how someone moves as much. But like I loved Dave Chappelle's most recent ones that got like a lot of criticism.
All right, so Have a Heart says, why do I, and I think I have an answer for this, but I think you might have a good answer for this too. Why do I, a straight girl, only masturbate to gay male porn?
Oh, interesting, because you hear so many women straight women that masturbate to lesbian porn, which I always think is so interesting.
I think it's an energy thing. She must.
Yeah, I watch gay male porn too.
I think she's attracted to like the energy of two gay men.
Yeah, fucking going at it, and they're usually more verbal. And it's easier to find two gay men in porn that like really want to fuck each other. In straight porn, I think is like the most contrived. Well, but I think lesbian porn, I've never even watched it, so I don't know.
Well, because a lot of times lesbian porn is a straight man's idea of what they think lesbians are.
Yes, totally.
As opposed to real lesbians having sex.
And same with the straight porn too. That's why I'll watch amateur porn or gay male porn.
Better because you're always going to see people who actually like each other or want to be you know, they're
or
not
hate each other, but it seems like they're doing it for the right reasons.
Okay.
So I cut you off too. What is that you think it's because of the energy?
Yeah, I think it might be like an energy thing.
And it's not weird.
What is your silliest fear?
I guess my silliest fear, the fear that I think is the silliest, is I'm always like so afraid of failure. And I know that just could be like, oh, it's not silly, but it is a little, the way that my fear of it is a little bit silly because it's so like heightened. But I guess like I'm not like really scared of any like heights or something. My silliest fear, I don't know.
Fear is like a more, that's not, I mean, it's not silly, right? Like,
do you have a silly fear? That's a tough one. Well, because it's tough to call a fear silly. It's like, I mean, I guess if I was like, oh, ferrets scare me, they don't really.
That's a good one.
But I was making it up.
Right.
I mean, I don't like them.
A silly fear. I don't know.
Well, we'll get back to you on that one.
Yeah, we have to think about that one. That's like a silly fear. We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Okay. From JSSNX. I don't even slightly know how to pronounce that. What were your first impressions of each other?
We've answered this before. We liked each other. We saw each other at a show at the Creek.
Well, because I had not seen you because you had moved back from Boston, and I was blown away by you. I was like, oh my God, who is this lesbian comic I've never seen who is fucking great?
I remember doing a show and I got off stage and Matteo was like, who are you? You're really funny. Like, you should come hang out here and here.
Yeah, I pulled you aside because I didn't know if you were like a new comic, but I was like, oh my God, like these are where the places I hang out. We should hang out together.
Yeah, that was so nice of you. I remember that really well. And then I remember seeing you and I'd be in the West Village at the Village Lantern. And I remember seeing you walk by and I was with Jabron Salim. And I remember I was like, that's Matteo Lane. And he was like, oh yeah. Da, da, da. And we didn't say hi, but we like watched you walk by. And I think you were wearing like little jean shorts.
Of course, sounds just about right.
Going out on a limb here. In the summer, walking around the West Village. How fucking nice is that? That's a highlight of my life. The West Village.
I don't remember.
You will again someday. If you guys get to go to the West Village, if you go to New York, put the West Village as the number 2 destination, maybe number 1.
Okay, this is from Rory Faria. What's your favorite memory together?
I think I got one.
I wonder if ours is the same one. You go first.
Okay, mine was we were in San Francisco and we were lost trying to get to a show, but then before we got to our show, we went and got some pastries. I think that was one of my favorite ones. Or being in Philly and staying at Gail's house.
I was going to say jet skiing together.
Yeah, jet skiing I think it was like 2 4th of Julys in a row, maybe. We went to,
we didn't get to go the second year. We wanted to, but then we weren't able to go.
But we did do it twice. Because I remember being with like 2 different girlfriends. I remember there were 2 different girls I brought.
We went one year, but we didn't actually get to go jet skiing because it was too cold.
Yes, and then we went a year before that where we did go jet skiing.
Yeah, but that was
fun.
I mean, that was fun.
That was fun. And then there was a guy, and then we were getting lunch, and Matteo was in a Speedo, and I remember some guy went by and he yelled something at us, and we didn't know if he was yelling it at us.
Oh, he hated our whole table. He'd call us all faggots.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't care.
Right, and I remember we were with my friend Mike and his girlfriend who's straight, and they were like, he was like horrified. He was like, he couldn't believe that happened.
We were like yawning. We're like,
yeah, next. Yeah.
Okay, from Buenardo. Do you have any superstitious, irrational beliefs? Like I quote in quotes believe in horoscopes. Yeah, you do with those fucking rocks.
Oh, and horoscopes but I wouldn't call them superstitious. I believe that shit. So, astrology, absolutely, buddy. I wouldn't put it as in your little in that category because
I don't believe in any astrology.
What's your sign?
I'm a Cancer.
It's very Cancer of you to not believe.
No, it's not.
I'm joking.
It's supposed to be like.
That's a joke.
I'm
kidding. That's what all Cancers say. Everything you're saying right now is what a Cancer would say. I get a kick out of it. Like there's this book that it like gets it down to like the hour you were born.
Oh my God.
And I think it's really interesting. It's just interesting, like food for thought. But irrational ones, let me see. I don't know. I mean, I guess, yeah, the astrology would be it, because would be the most like controversial. But I'm not really a conspiracy theorist.
No,
Do you believe in aliens?
Yeah, but that's not like a superstitional, irrational belief, is it?
Right.
This seems more. I just had this conversation yesterday with my friend Jacob. How like he's like, oh, I think there's other life, but not intelligent. I'm like, but the universe is so big. Like, there,
Right.
1000%. It's statistically impossible for there not to be other intelligent life out there. It would be insane.
And intelligent becomes like relative to the situation it's trying to adapt in. So if we're going to some far out other planet, we could get there and have no intelligence, because in the context of that planet, we wouldn't know how to do anything. You know what I mean? Like, they could drop an alien off here and it could be totally disoriented, and we're like, oh, there's no intelligence. But then gets to its planet and it's like doing stuff that, since we couldn't even learn how to do it because we wouldn't have context for it, so then our intelligence is like a mute point.
That's why I'm very impressed by all the words you just used.
Thank you. Sometimes I whip out the big ones.
Yeah. Okay, so from Sahil Marwa. Okay, sorry if I said that name incorrectly. Do you think people will do Zoom hookups? Of course.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, guys.
I've been doing it before Zoom was even around.
Well,
I remember doing hookups via smoke signals in the 1800s. I mean,
smoke
it's like,
signal of their dick. But here's the thing. Be careful on Zoom. Do it on Skype or FaceTime. Don't do it over your phone on FaceTime. Don't do it on Zoom, because Zoom can get hacked easier than any of the other ones.
Well,
Zoom gets hacked easier. Even if you have a password, it's easier to share the screen. So, like, you want to be careful with that shit. Do it in real time where no one can record. On Zoom, someone can hit record and the other person wouldn't know.
Well, you can hit record on FaceTime too. Like, you can just.
Can you record FaceTime?
You can on the iPhone. You can record anything that's on your screen.
Oh, that's true. You're right. Okay, yeah. So they're all equally.
Just see my ass. I don't give a shit.
Right.
Okay. From
but yes.
MKGO 84. Would you rather be stuck in quarantine with no money until September, or give up pasta for life? I'd rather be stuck with no money till September. I mean, this is a specific question for me. I'd rather have no money. I would have no money. I'd go home and live with my parents till September, and then get my job back, but I can't not eat.
I think I'm actually in the same boat, but that's only because I'd scuttle my butt home. But we'd have to get home and we'd have no money. How'd you get to Chicago? I'd jump on a bus.
I call my mom.
Oh, yeah. We're doing, yeah, call the parents.
Call the parents. Okay, so.
Which is a privilege.
From Alejandro 2122. Have you been watching Leslie Jordan's Instagram videos? I actually have been watching.
I just started, and Matteo and I were on a cruise with him. He's a riot.
He was great. He was so
great.
Funny.
Yeah, how tall is he? Like 4'9"?
He's like 5'1".
5'1". You think, or is he even shorter than that?
Let's look up how tall he is.
He was, because that was the first thing I noticed. He's very recognizable. I knew I had seen him other places, but yeah, his Instagram, the one about Burger King where his mom is like, where are we? And then the waitress is, where are we and how's it pronounced? And she's like, Burger King. I thought that was so cute.
He's 4'11".
He is 4'11". I fucking knew something. Yeah, he was. I remember seeing him around the cruise ship, and I was like, oh, he was funny.
So funny, and
his Instagram. Check it out. Had you followed him on Instagram before?
No, but now I do, because I didn't know he was making such funny videos.
Yeah, he's on it was on CNN.
Okay, from M. Joseph Golden. What Disney character would you date and why? I have an interesting answer to this.
Let's hear it.
So, Buck. What the fuck is his name? Hold on a second. He's from. All right, give me a second. Wait.
Aladdin.
Well, that is like the right answer because he's so. Okay, so Kristoff from Frozen. In the first Frozen, he was really hot. In the second Frozen, I didn't like him.
Oh.
I don't know what changed for me, but the first Frozen, Kristoff, I would date him.
Do you think that they changed actors, voiceover actors?
No, same voice.
Really?
Something about the character I don't like. Maybe
Interesting.
He was, I don't know.
I still haven't seen Frozen, even though I've heard that song "Let It Go" like 9,000 times. Kids love that song, and I'm so curious what are they
Why do we love
relating to so strong about that?
Mighty kings, enemies beware.
I love that song.
See, I mean that song and I can show you the world.
I liked that.
I'm shimmering. Yeah, but those were like the songs of our childhood, right?
Right.
Like, we must have listened to over and over.
Yes, I did. But something about "Let It Go," it always is just so odd to see a toddler being like, "Let it go," and I'm like, "What are you letting go? Nothing has happened to you yet."
Or diaper.
Yeah, maybe that's what they want to be saying to their parents, and their parents are like bedtime, and they're like, "Let it go, let it go." But they love that. Mine would be Jasmine or Nala, but I'd say I've switched it to Jasmine.
But Jasmine in the red, right?
Jasmine and all her little things. I always thought she was like smoking hot.
She is smoking hot. Jasmine's
Beauty.
hot.
Yeah.
Okay. This is from John DZ3. What's the hardest thing about being a queer comic in the spotlight?
I think it can be tough building a bridge sometimes with people that are like, there's, sometimes you just feel this energy where you'll see maybe that with other comics, like that they'll laugh at like certain things that are like, if someone says something like homophobic or mean to gay people and then the audience is all like, ha, yeah, it can then be hard to go up after that. But I think whatever makes it harder for you in the beginning makes you stand out more in the end. So if it's like harder being the only one of whatever you are, or people not automatically, you having to build more of a bridge for them to relate to what your life, it helps you stand out more in the end. I think,
and this is a conversation I had with Yamanika the other day, I think sometimes when you're from a certain group of people, right? So as comics, we're gay people. It's a real hard balance of performing for straight people and gay people, because straight people, you don't want to feel like you're performing like a little monkey. Like, hi, look at the gay guy. I'm all the, I'm going to be the gay guy you want to see, right? And then for gay people, it's like, you don't want to play to that room either. It's like, you just want to be yourself and not feel pressure to be anything but yourself.
Yeah, and you hear people of color talk about that a lot.
And they project onto you what they are expecting. And then they like, no one projects onto, well, I mean, I guess they do, but it's like, I would say just when you're from a certain community, there's an expectation, and you just want to drop the expectation and be like, can I just be myself? And it's not a gay thing. It's not a straight thing. It's like, it's just me existing thing. So there's like it's hard to balance that.
Or like, if you talk about relationships, then people are like, oh, those are gay jokes. And it's like, yeah, but
that's a big thing for comics that people don't understand, is comics will say, well, your jokes are only gay.
Right. Right. But if you're talking about relationships, then yeah, it is a gay relationship, but the joke is about a relationship or a breakup or this or that. And with straight comics, they could talk about a relationship all day long and they'd be like, oh, that was a joke about that girlfriend or this girlfriend. You have the privileges of being specific.
And sometimes I want to remind straight people, the reason we talk about it so much is because our entire existence is just like TV, posters, movies, play, the list goes on. Growing up, it was only straight people.
Right.
We have a strange concept of the world, and we're sort of outside of what everyone else is living in, because every poster, everything is like basically screaming at you like heterosexual, like we were growing up. It's obviously getting better now. So my perception of the world is growing up as someone outside of the norm. So, can you imagine being straight and everything was gay, and then you get on stage? Of course you're going to want to talk about your experience being straight.
Right.
Because you've been ostracized.
Oh, I've seen straight comics crumble. I used to go to this gay bar show on Mondays I used to do. It's straight comics, and it was mostly gay men in the audience, and I would see straight comics be like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know how I'm going to do this. Or I've had that.
Like, how do you think we do it every night?
Right. And I've had that. I mean, I've gone in, or there's been times where like, it's just like whenever you're not the majority in a situation, it can get tricky. I mean, and then there's like a lot of like levels to that too. Right. And
you can get written off as not a threat because you're gay. Well, they're gay. They're not really a comic. They're just using that as a crutch. And it's like, my existence as a crutch.
There's I forget, you'll hear, like, I've heard comics of color talk about code switching a lot, where it's like, this is the way they address this group of people, and this is the way they need to address this group of people. And then it like comes to there's someone that was talking about when it like comes to a head, if it's like, a more mixed audience and how that's hard to navigate. I'll try to find where I think I was listening to that.
There are positives and negatives for each audience, right? Like if I'm doing a show for just gay men and they've come to see me, I do feel at ease because there's certain words, phrases, and subjects.
Yeah, they just get it.
That I don't have to explain anything
right.
to. And this sounds so crazy. I can do 5 minutes on Liza Minnelli.
Right.
And it's understood. So there's certain times when I'm like, especially when I'm on the road, I'm super excited to perform for shows because I know there's going to be a lot of gay men out there. And it's like, ooh, I could just talk about whatever the fuck I want to talk about.
Oh yeah. When people come out to see you, then that's like it's just the best. Cause like they have like a context for what you're talking about. Like I don't usually feel like I need to like establish where I'm from. People are already like, what's your mom doing? Like, that's like the best. That's when it's like, that's just when it's the most fun. That's the most fun.
This is from John DC3. What's the hardest? No, this is it. From Pulpy Milk. Pulpy Milk. So bad with these names, sorry. Do you ever feel like role models? I have an interesting answer to this.
Yeah, go for it.
I don't believe in role models.
Really?
Nope. I don't think it's too much pressure to put on someone. I think you can see someone and be inspired by things that they do, but no one should ever feel the pressure to live a certain existence based off thousands of people that they don't know. So I don't find it like and I'm not talking about me, like even Justin Bieber, for example, right? Like when back in his heyday, he was getting so much bullshit. You're not a role model. You're not a role model. You're not a role model. Role models are for people that we know and exist in our lives. When you're
the way someone should have phrased it is they should have said, you're not my role model. It's like, you get to pick your fucking role models. So if he's not being the example that you need to live your best life, switch role models. Don't try to make him something that he's not.
Right. And I understand like you have a huge influence in the way you behave affects young people, but also the people that you fucking live with affect young people. And two, it's like, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't like this answer because it's like, well, you know, if you act a certain way, then other people act this way and kids are impressionable and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, but I'm also just like, for me, for example, like as a comic, like I'm sure when we get to a certain point in our career, the things we've said will not be appropriate for children. And it's like, yeah, but all of our training comes from me in clubs at 4 a.m. talking to people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s.
Oh, so you're probably not trying to perform for children.
Right. It's like what incentive?
Like I'm good on that. Right. I will be very nice to them, but of course.
I'm a rated R person. Like in the beginning of movies, they have like PG-13. I am rated R.
Yeah, so explicit.
I'm not trying to make anything I'm talking So I just don't like the idea. And it also, like, when you look at role models, it destroys a lot of people.
I think that if you look at someone I hadn't thought of it like that. I'll try to be very sensitive if, like, you look at someone as a role model that they're still a person. So you can't, like, hold them to a standard of perfection. But it's like, if someone, like, inspires me with, you know, like, health or the way they think of something, I wouldn't necessarily use the word role model, but I would say like, oh, they're a role model for that. Like, oh, the way this
I would say they're inspirational.
Yeah, like there's this guy, when I bought that, when I was like, oh, I'm gonna do that things with the stocks, which I did that at the right time because it went up from it. But there was this guy who I was reading and I always like the way he talks about that stuff. And so I would say he would be like a role model for that because I like how I like his approach to that.
But that brings a different point. A role model for one person is different for another person.
Right, exactly.
So how can one person expect to be a role model when other people are influenced by different things? Like I was influenced by a guy named Patrick Powers, who was on a podcast called PNS Explosion growing up. Now that's something I needed as a gay man being 18 during the time I was 18. I'm not saying it's a PC show. It's definitely not a PC show, but I needed to hear gay men speak to each other in a way that they could laugh.
So he was a role model, but it's you getting to pick the role model. It's not the role.
But I don't look at him as a role model. I look at him as an inspiration. I say, this was something that inspired me and helped me. I don't have to take all of it. I don't have to look at this person and
But I think that's how a lot of people do look at role models. I think that there's some people that look at it like you're a role model and you have to. I guess a lot of people are like, you're a role model and you have to act like this.
That's the expectation. Yeah. Well, aren't you a role model to 13-year-olds? And suddenly there's a pressure for this person to stop living their lives the way they choose to live it. And all of a sudden they're living it for thousands of people that they don't know. I just don't think it's fair.
if someone uses the word, I guess I look at the word role model a little bit differently. Like if someone says that I've inspired them to do something, then, you know, I'll be like, great, that like wants me to like keep going. I mean, if someone said, if you're a role model to me, I'd be like, all right, be careful. I mean, if it's trying to like get out of a small town or be someone that tries, great, but like don't try to make it something it's not in that regard. But I think it's very much like the person picking, you know, just
I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't like the idea that people can pressure someone else into living and speaking a certain way if it wasn't by their own choice. If that makes any sense. That's actually kind of bad, but I think you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Right, let's move on.
And also by doing stuff that is like, I mean, there's definitely times where it's like there's stuff I've wanted to say, but because I know I'll be saying it on like a public platform where I'm like, all right, I should probably not say that. But that's more just like not wanting to like deal with a bunch of shit too.
Right. But that's like a whole other.
That's a whole other thing. Or it'll be me being like.
Leads into the next question.
Okay.
So from Quant Wu. God, I'm saying these names horrible. I'm so sorry. Okay. What do you think needs to change in the LGBTQ plus community?
A thorough understanding of the intersection of race, class, and gender. I would say.
Wow,
Yeah.
I was gonna say something funny. That was a great answer.
What are you gonna say?
That we all need to recognize that Barbra Streisand and Whitney Houston are the greatest singers of all times.
I think those two answers together give you the perfect answer. Barbra Streisand and Whitney Houston. Did you watch the Whitney Houston documentary? It was so good.
I know. I watched. I was like, "Girl, do you think I turned gay yesterday?" I
knew all of it.
Knew it all. I was watching a recap of my knowledge of Whitney Houston.
Wow. See, I didn't know all the I mean, watching the footage of the one that was so crushing to me was watching the footage of her when she was filming the movie in Atlanta and she finally had a schedule, so she felt better. And then and it was like, oh, that's what she needed. It was so simple. She just needed a place to be. Like,
well, she got to a point where she was under the sort of thumb of Clive Davis.
Right.
Very similar to Mariah Carey. Well, but Mariah Carey was married to Tommy Mottola. There was a kind of Svengali person controlling their career, keeping them in line. And then once they get to a certain point, no one can tell them no.
Right.
And then they want this freedom. And look, respectfully, Whitney Houston had been trained by her mother and then Clive Davis. She needed someone to help her let go.
Right.
Fortunately, that was Bobby Brown.
Right.
And Bobby Brown aided her already growing addiction.
Let me tell you.
Mess.
That fucking guy in that documentary, when he like refused to comment about the drug use or something, he was like, well, this isn't about that. And then it's kind of like, well, that's pretty like
that's exactly what this is about,
woven into the story and the fabric of her life about why she was using that, and his refusal to even acknowledge that, I'm like, oof.
I know.
Shady. Bad vibes on that one, even though I love that. What was his one song, Every Little Step You Take?
What's this Britney Spears lifted from? My Prerogative.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is from my sister, the Katester0123.
KK.
Y'all, which we're not from the South, so I don't know why she said that, but I love you, Kate. Y'all need to do, maybe she's being inclusive. Okay, y'all need to do a live Inside the Closet in Chicago after the zombie apocalypse, of course. Yeah, we should go to Chicago.
Yeah, I'm supposed to go there in June. Still hasn't been canceled. I was supposed to be there
a month ago.
Mine hasn't been canceled yet.
Mine was canceled.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be at Zanies in Chicago in June. I mean,
they won't book me, by the way.
I know.
I went out there to email Zanies in Chicago because he won't book me because of a fight I wasn't even a part of with an agent I don't even have anymore 4 years ago. Now he will never book me. So Zanies in Chicago, email Bert and let him have it.
And I do not endorse that at all because he's been really wonderful to me. So I don't know anything about.
Well, apparently he doesn't like homosexual men who are from Chicago. Okay, I'm joking. I take that back. He has nothing against gay people. He doesn't hate gay people at all. But he just won't book me because of a fight I wasn't even involved in years ago.
I'm sure it was something with that manager. So now he doesn't know that there's a new manager.
No, it wasn't even. It wasn't even my agent's fault. He's ridiculous. Okay.
Sounds like a complicated thing. But I was supposed to be there in June, which I guess we'll see about that. My shows in San Francisco haven't even been canceled that are in May 14th, 15th, and 16th. I wish they would get canceled like sooner than later. I don't feel right. Yeah.
They're not gonna happen. There's no way. All my shows in May are gone.
Yeah.
Done.
Done.
Okay, so Bert does not hate gay people. I just burp, excuse me. Okay. From Nick Smith, my most hated friend.
Bert does, but you know who I think? I think America's Got Talent. Have they ever had a gay person on there?
Yeah, of course.
Who?
Like a comic?
Yeah.
Well, they've asked me, but I said no.
So I said no a while ago, but then I was like watching it and I was like, they've never had a gay. Maybe every gay comic says no to it.
I just think, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into that. Nick Smith. So this is Nick. Now we've had Nick on the show before. He was our pride expert one time on our live show.
Yes.
He came and talked to us. He was really funny. Nick Smith. I'll say it in his voice. Oh, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego during this pandemic? So where do you think Cameron Esposito, not the comedian Cameron Esposito, where do you think Carmen Sandiego is from during this pandemic? Although Cameron, if you're listening, you should dress up as Carmen Sandiego. That would be fun. That'd be fun. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego during this pandemic?
Australia, hiding out on a beach.
I think she stole the antidote for coronavirus and is hanging out on the moon.
You think?
She steals shit.
Does she?
Yeah, that's her whole thing. Remember Carmen Sandiego? Like the Leaning Tower of Pisa would be missing, and they're like, Carmen Sandiego took it again, and then they'd have to like figure out where she. And then like the whole episode would be about Italy, like knowing about like the history of Italy.
Right. I forgot about that show. I just remember the song to it. Yeah, she's hiding out somewhere.
Like, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? I loved that show. And then at the end, they had to like match the map. Like they had like the lights and like,
wow, where's Peru? Did you watch what was that, Wishbone? Did you ever watch that show?
What's the story, Wishbone?
Yeah, I loved Wishbone.
About Wishbone that no one gets because no one else watched it. But
that's funny.
Is, how humiliating to be the actress who has to play the love interest of a fucking dog.
Yeah, true. It's so true.
And he was always so serious. Like he would play like King Arthur and he's like, oh my, it's like a fucking dog. He's like, I am so worried about my knights. I'm like, you're a dog.
Let me tell you too, now knowing a little bit about how it works with having animals on set, that dog must have been paid through the fucking ass.
And also how much of a pain in the ass.
That dog, I bet it had 2 publicists in the back because the standard for dogs on set, like I've done things before where someone's like, oh, we could have a dog in it, and someone would be like, ah, blah, 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 blah. Once you bring animals into it, and then like the animal, I swear to God, the animal agents and the whole animal industry around it, it becomes like everything. It's so expensive and so complicated and like as it should be. But that's like a whole. So Wishbone must have been. Whoo.
Remember the what's the story, Wishbone? Right? Wait, I'm gonna look up before we go. I want to look
Wishbone
up
was so good.
The Wishbone theme song. That's so funny that you mentioned Wishbone. You think I said something wrong earlier about Zanies?
No, I totally understand being bothered about not getting to do something.
I'll have them take it out. Okay. Wishbone theme song.
Let's hear it. It's not playing. Put it up to the thing. Yeah. Oh, that dog is so fucking cute. That dog looks a little bit like Bowie in size.
Theme songs were so long back in the day.
I know. Not with everyone's attention span now. With people's attention spans now, it's got to be like, on to the fucking show.
Right. That's it.
That's it. And then it's just dog going, hi.
Then they get to it.
They have to edit it to 30 seconds or less, and it's like a TikTok montage.
All right, let me ask you a question before we go.
Yeah.
What's your favorite TV show theme song growing up?
Oh my God. Wow. I guess the one that just popped up right when you said it was I loved the theme song to Cheers. I don't even remember how it goes. And I didn't like the show. I I didn't like the show. I only watched it because my brother would watch it, and I thought he was cool. So when he would laugh, I would laugh. But I really wanted to be watching Wishbone. I distinctly remember that. But I liked the theme song to Cheers. I don't know if it's. I love Power Rangers. I don't remember their theme song either, though.
Go Power Rangers!
Yeah, I love that.
Go.
I love Power Rangers. Didn't one of them get?
X-Men.
Didn't one of them get in trouble for like drugs or something? I
Oh,
feel like
all of them.
they all did. What was your favorite one?
X-Men.
Oh, X-Men. I don't think I've ever heard it.
You don't remember X-Men theme
Never
song?
saw it.
Ah, Emma, it's so good.
Never saw it.
Also Step by Step. Family Matters or Step by
Oh,
Step.
I love Family Matters. What was the theme song for that?
Family Matters was is your edition?
Yeah.
Some people think that you don't mind.
Oh, Full House. Remember Full House?
Right, is that it?
Yeah. Remember Full House? I mean, not Full House. Full House.
Full House was people are screaming at us right now.
I know. What's the one where it's like everywhere you look?
Yeah, everywhere you look.
Yeah.
Everywhere, da-da-da. Yeah.
Now everywhere you look. I don't know if I've watched True Crime, but that sounds like real creepy.
Well, and Step by Step, do you remember? Step by step, day by day.
Oh yeah. Man, TV has fucking changed, huh?
I know.
Like,
yeah. I mean, Steve Urkel, like that was what was Home Improvement like?
Steve Urkel, and then when it came out that he like wasn't really a nerd and like actually was like this like fit guy
with Stefan.
Yeah, but here's the thing: his face was still kind of fucking weird, to be totally honest. Everyone's like, oh, he's still really good looking guy. I remember being like, I guess compared to Urkel.
Emma.
Yeah, don't edit that out. I'm not saying he wasn't cute, and someone should have liked him when he was a nerd too. I'm all for the nerd, but they were like, oh, when he's Stefan, he's stunningly gorgeous. He was handsome in his own abstract way.
What was the name of the girl in that? Krista? No.
She was cute.
She was beautiful. What was her name?
She was cute.
Krista?
And I loved Urkel in it. I was always my favorite character on that was the brother and the dad, though. I liked who was the actor that played that dad? That dad.
I did a show with him once.
Is he a comedian?
He's an actor. I was a guest role in a show called Clip, starring Ashley Tisdale 5 years ago.
Oh, that's so funny. There was this
family.
There was this guy. He's an actor. He's someone like when you see his face, you're like, oh, that guy's in everything. He played a judge, like a prominent judge in one of those shows, and I did something with him, and I just kept staring at him.
Laura Winslow.
Laura, that was the name of the girl on it. Yep.
Laura Winslow, Eddie Winslow.
Yeah.
Remember Richard, like Richie, like little Richie.
Yep. Oh yeah. I wonder what happened to all those guys. That was a hit show. I hope they.
Yeah, I love the mom, Harriet Winslow. Like, come.
Didn't they? Wasn't that one of the things where they switched the actresses? Do you remember they would do that sometimes?
That was Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
They did it in that, but I think they did it in Family Matters too.
No, they didn't. They didn't change.
I think the first season was a different mom.
No, because the mother was. It's a spinoff. The mother was from another show.
Okay.
And they loved her so much. She played an elevator operator, which that's how long ago that was.
Wow.
They loved her so much they gave her own show, Family Matters, and then Steve Urkel was a guest, and then Steve Urkel took over, and it became basically the Steve Urkel show.
Oh wow. Okay, I hadn't realized. Yeah. Because I remember sometimes in shows when they would switch one of the actors, and you're like, what? And you're like, how could that be? And then you realize that because off camera some shit went down.
Yeah, they did that with the mom in Fresh Prince.
Yeah, but they did that. They didn't even try to make them look alike. I mean, different body types, different skin tone, different cadence, different. It wasn't even like, it was like, he got a new wife.
Yeah. This is the new person.
This is a new person. Like, you're not, because on Crazy Ex, they did it where they had a new guy come in too. It's just fucking tough to do. It's tough to.
And it's tough to be that actor coming in because you just want a job, and everyone's like, "You're not the other actor."
Yeah.
You're like,
where's Dan? Right.
Why are you people so mad at me?
Right.
All right. Well, this has been fun.
Yes. Thank you guys. Write in more questions. What's the email address? InsideTheCloset@gmail.com.
That's it.
That's it. Okay. And we'll be posting the video on YouTube because we can do that now. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you. I'll hit stop recording.